And with that being said, I got a phone call a couple of days out of the program saying that he committed suicide. He had gotten out and didn't make it 24 hours outside of the program. And with that being said, we would talk about being sober together. We would talk about what we're going to accomplish, how we're going to be different. And when I heard this, it made me realize people lose this battle. Not everyone comes out a winner. We can choose to win. Mm-hmm. We can choose to take control over what we can and really make the best out of the situation. But not everyone makes that choice.
Welcome to Beyond the Scale, the show where everyday heroes share their stories on how they turn their lives around for the healthier. I'm Coach Brittany, and today's guest is Coach Christian from Altaloma Fit Body Bootcamp. He talks about being resilient and why it's so important to ask for help when you need it. Hope you enjoy. Welcome, Christian.
Hey, Brittany.
How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you for coming out here and being on the show.
Hey, thank you for having me on the show. It's an honor to be able to work with you guys and to be able to go ahead and spread a positive message.
I love that. Now, can you just start by telling us what you currently do?
So, I'm a coach at Altaloma Fit Body Bootcamp. Okay. I focus on small group training. It is amazing. It's just a fun environment. I help people get to the results. And in simple terms, I help people build muscle, lose fat, and most importantly, I help them feel good throughout the process.
Awesome. Now, I can just feel your passion already. I love it.
I love what I do.
How long have you been a coach there for?
I've been coaching there. I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary, specifically here at with this team, and I think this past year has actually been the best year in my fitness profession.
Nice, nice. And what is the number one most rewarding thing about being a coach?
You know what? I think it's just the fact that my job is to give. The more that I give, the more that people get these results, and I just noticed that my life is a whole lot more peaceful. See, my passion for health comes from being unhealthy beforehand, so I just really like to help people eliminate, those problems in their life, and I just noticed that I feel my healthiest, and I get the most reward when I focus on giving and just helping people get to where they want to go. Okay,
and now you just mentioned that your passion came from not being healthy. So when did you start being healthy, or what was your life like before that?
Oh, man. All right, well, I grew up really overweight. A lot of my families, just deals with a little bit of obesity, a little bit of alcoholism. So the environment I grew up in was just a lot of sugar being consumed. Everyone's kind of chubby, and I consistently gained weight. And I started dieting when I was 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
I remember I got called fat by my little elementary school crush, and it really just distraught me. And I went home, and I remember I started portioning out my food. I became very conscious of what I was eating. I started to lose weight here and there. It wasn't until I was about 15 that I really dedicated myself to wanting to pursue this as a career, and I just really realized how passionate I was. At this point, I had maybe lost 30 pounds off my body. Yeah, it was an up and down journey, but I felt better, and I really wanted to feel my best. So I started to study. I was counting calories, counting macros, just really taking my nutrition to a new level. Eventually, I started running, started lifting weights, and weightlifting was where I really sparked up my passion. Once I started learning that I could change my body and really understanding how to apply weights and exercises into doing that, oh man, it took it to a new level for me. It became this game of what can I really push myself to do. So since then, I've just been growing. I'm 25 now, so you guys can go ahead and do the math, but I've just been really committed to developing myself as a coach, and I just really know what it's like to be overweight. In total, I've lost and kept about 60 pounds of fat off of my body. I've put on muscle since then. I maintain a nice, strong, lean physique now, and it's come from humble beginnings. I really can understand being overweight. I can understand the struggles, and I understand what it's like, to actually achieve those goals as well.
Yeah, well, congrats on losing the 60 pounds and keeping that off. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
So, it sounds like this all happened in your high school years, right?
Yeah.
So how did high school change for you when you started seeing your body change and your confidence change?
You know what? Great question. I remember there's this one summer where I really hit the weights hard. Okay. And when I came back to school, I used to have long hair, and I came back to school sophomore to junior year, I completely changed my look. I looked different. I was 20 pounds different on my body type. I had short hair, and people were looking at me, and there was this rumor going around that I was a new kid. No one could recognize me anymore. And then I started making new friends, and I started noticing I was getting attention from different people. It was great, but naturally I wasn't really a confident person. Like I started to get put into these situations where a whole lot more social, people that didn't want to communicate with me, or maybe just didn't pay attention to me or recognize me maybe my freshman year. Now we're paying attention to me. And I actually started building up some kind of resentment. It was like a 50-50 because I was like, back then you didn't care to talk to me.
Right.
Now I look different, things are a little bit different. So it was a bittersweet kind of moment for me. And I really wasn't confident. So I still needed to develop the confidence. I changed my look a little, but I started to realize I needed to work on myself internally, you know? And I think that's mainly, I changed a lot physically in high school, but the past years of my life, you know, after my teenage years have really been that spiritual growth and understanding who I am as a person and how to take health into just a lifetime experience.
Okay, and now, so what did you do to start, you know, changing your confidence? I know you said it wasn't until later on, but what were the things that kind of catapulted that?
So, okay, ideally, building confidence for me, it was a very long process. There isn't an actual just, here's the answer for that. I always struggle with confidence. I actually sometimes still struggle with confidence to this day. For me, what helped was just getting in better shape. I noticed the more confident I felt about how I looked, the more it communicated verbally and in social situations. I consider myself an introvert, so it was kind of difficult to get myself into extroverted situations, but I still did. Now, something else that really helped me was drinking alcohol. It actually caused a lot of problems for me, but alcohol also helped me boost up my confidence. So after high school, I went to a little bit of college, started partying, and I was putting these muscles to use, right? I was like, okay, like let me actually start dating. I feel better, and I feel a little bit less socially awkward. Well, I used a little bit of alcohol to help me do that, but then I started to rely on alcohol for my confidence because I didn't know how to develop my confidence. It took me a very long time. It was a whole lot more than needing to build muscle or needing to feel satisfied when I looked in the mirror. It was something I couldn't really explain. And years and years and years of using alcohol as a tool to help me be, you know, less socially awkward led me to a point to where I can classify myself as a recovering alcoholic, you know, and with that being said, that is where I really had to make a commitment to what lifestyle did I want. Did I want to get my confidence from health, or did I want to get my confidence from some kind of substance I put into my body that ultimately I couldn't control? And that is where I really started to build the confidence. And this actually happened to me, I mean, maybe in the past 2 years span, you know, when I was about 23 years old, that's when it really hit me that I needed change. That 23rd birthday, I realized I just didn't like the path I was going down. I was doing coaching and I'm a trainer and I'm all about health, but I'm just living this unhealthy lifestyle to try to supplement for my lack of confidence. And I realized something needed to change. And from there, things just, they were a little bit less fitness orientated, and like I said, I had to go on a little journey deep within myself. But now I feel like I'm back from that journey, and I'm able to tie it into health and fitness and to help people a little bit more.
Okay, now talking about the alcoholism, and so I'm assuming your health obviously took a toll as well when you were dealing with that. What was the lowest point for you?
Oh man, you know, I had a lot of low points. I remember the specific day. I was doing, I got into an argument with my younger brother. We were drinking, and I was drinking, I should say. And it was a family environment. And I don't know why, but we got into this argument. He was driving me home because I couldn't drive right. It was a good conversation. And I ended up getting upset. And as we exited the car, once we arrived at home, I had hit my hand on something. I slapped my hand, and I was upset. And actually, to be completely honest, I kind of slapped his car. I walked by his car, I was upset, and I snapped my wrist, broke my wrist.
Oh, wow.
And I was actually planning on moving out the next day because I wasn't getting along with my family. It was a patient meeting of getting kicked out / hey, I'm moving out kind of thing, right? So it was a little mix of the two. And this was supposed to be that last party where I was like supposed to be like, hey, I'm moving out. It's okay. We're on good terms. And I just completely screwed it up. It was a bad situation. I ended up moving out the next day. Didn't know I had a broken wrist. I was packing up all my clothes, having this crazy pain. And I move out to this place and I'm sitting in this empty room finally once I get everything done. And it's this empty white room. And I just remember drinking and drinking and drinking. And I went to the mirror in the restroom, and I looked at myself, and I couldn't recognize myself anymore. You know, I looked myself in the eyes, and I just remember I felt sick. I was so intoxicated. I just wanted to throw up. My eyes were just bloodshot red. It was this horrible experience. I couldn't believe that this was a normal for me. This was an everyday experience. It wasn't a couple times a week. I was drinking for 7 years straight, 7, 8 years straight. And this for me, when I just completely damaged relationships with the people that cared about me the most. My relationship with my girlfriend at the time was absolutely horrible. She didn't want to talk to me at all, and everything was falling apart. Everything was falling apart. And I had just gotten this new job. That's why I moved. So this, for me, that was like a real moment where I kind of realized, hey, if I'm not at rock bottom, I'm approaching it soon. And I went on for about 2 more months. And these 2 months, I had a wrist, and I was doing sales. And for the trainers that know, sales, it's not passionate. It's not the passionate side of what we do in health and fitness. A lot of it's, hey, at least in certain environments in the big box gyms, it's, hey, how are you doing today? Do you want to buy training? Even though I don't know you, right? There's no relationship building, anything. And that's just certain, places. But I had a broken wrist. So I was going around trying to introduce myself, trying to, pay my rent, trying to make money. And it was just this unhealthy environment. I couldn't stop drinking. I continued to drink, and I just started to feel not sorry for myself. It got to the point where I was going to sleep at night, and I was having liver pain and kidney pain so bad that I just wasn't. My only request I would all of a sudden become spiritual and religious and pray and ask that I make it through the night, because every single night I was questioning if I was going to wake up in the morning. My eyes were consistently yellow. It's a sign of kidney liver failure. Who knows? And I never actually went to get a physical at that point. But I was in pretty bad shape. And there's just this one day I woke up and I just couldn't do it anymore. I said I re-looked at myself in the mirrors and I just seen myself fading. I was supposed to be this health and fitness professional that decided to help people and to give and to help uplift people. And I was just in this low point. I couldn't even care for myself at that point. And at that point, I realized I needed help. Actually, there's a speech that I heard by Arnold Schwarzenegger that morning. And in this speech, he talks about how there's no such thing as a self-made man. He tells the story about how when he moved to follow his dreams from Europe, he came out here, and how this one Thanksgiving, the bodybuilders out in Venice Beach, they brought him, utensils and a meal, and they made his empty apartment feel a little bit more like home. And he says that this fired something up within him, that gave him the courage to go on and to build and to become the Terminator and win Mr. Olympia. And being, he's always been a fitness, mogul for me. I just absolutely look up to him and I respect him. So to hear that there was no such thing as a self-made man, I realized maybe everyone was right. Maybe I did need some help, because I had been hearing that for years and from everyone. Eventually, once they got to know me enough, everyone told me that. I was just stubborn. And that day I heard that, I actually decided to reach out and go ahead and find myself a program that I could go ahead and learn more about alcoholism and really help change my life. So that was the day that I decided that we found a program, and it wasn't 2 days later till that I actually admitted and went in, but that was just because I was waiting for a bed. That was the day I made a decision to change.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a young age to go through all of that and to feel like you don't even know if you're going to make it the next day. I mean, that is so inspiring that a speech from Arnold was the thing that tipped you over and decided, like, I need help now. So did you ever find yourself, not wanting to continue with the program that you got into after you made the decision to go in?
Man, it's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. You can't just, commitment means staying committed long after, that you made that commitment. When other things come up and life gets tough and life gets stressful. And I think that's what that program was. That program, I was in there for 6 weeks, and, you have this environment, you have this team. They call it a brotherhood in that kind of situation, but it's a team, man. It's a team of people that want to be better and encourage each other. And the thing is, it was this biggest pause. It was this pause from life. Don't get me wrong. It was not a vacation. A lot of time, all the people on the outside that I wasn't able to communicate with and I wasn't able to see, they're like, man, you're just living it up. We're dealing with everyday life, normal stresses, right? And you're just over here and they're feeding you and you have a bed to sleep in and you have all these guys around that you get to make you feel better with. But what it was a time to help me relearn to live, because I didn't know how to live without alcohol. I used to wake up every day at 4 or 5 a.m. drinking just to make sure I didn't have a hangover. So how was it, one of my mentors in there says, man, I used to have beer with my Cheerios Trios. You know, that was me. I laugh about it now because beer was my breakfast. It was just so horrible to say, but I needed to relearn to live. And that program gave me an opportunity to clean myself up and learn how to handle life in a different perspective. You know, so when I left, the biggest thing that they tell you is, you know, just for today. You don't want to focus on my goal is to make it to that year. My goal is to make it to this. Just for today, I'm not going to do this because that's the only thing you have control over. You don't have control over anything else. So when you ask, it's a day-to-day process of, and some days are worse. You know, some days are better than others, and that's the beauty of it, I think. Every day is going to teach me something. Every day that I don't drink, I realize how much better I am without it, and I become that much more stronger. You know, it's just an amazing, amazing thing that came from it.
And now, how does that help you relate to your clients that are struggling to stay on their fitness journeys?
You know, you mentioned something earlier. You asked me, how did I know when I was ready for that change? What was my rock bottom, right? And there was so much that led up to it. There really wasn't that one moment. But the one thing that I took out of this program is that out of all the people that were in there, everyone wanted change. But only a small percentage of us were actually going to come out with the change. And it's because sometimes, even if people have gone to the extent to reach for help, to go for guidance, to get a trainer, to help, you know, a life coach, whatever it is, just assistance in some way, shape, or form, that still might not be their rock bottom. The one thing that it taught me is that if a client or a person has a willingness, and I could see that they hit that rock bottom and they really have that true willingness to change, then I will completely give my everything that I possibly can. And the way that it makes me relate is because I know that what it takes to change is a willingness. I can't force anyone to change. So I'm not gonna go around trying to relate. But when I see that willingness, I know that that's my door to not give up on someone. That's my door to get fully invested. And like I said, I just make sure I give my all to them because I realize that this is drastic. This is a huge, huge change. In the program, one of my roommates actually committed suicide.
Wow.
I wasn't there. We graduated. And with that being said, I got a phone call a couple of days out of the program saying that he committed suicide. He had gotten out and didn't make it 24 hours outside of the program. And with that being said, we would talk about being sober together. We would talk about what we're gonna accomplish, how we're gonna be different. And when I heard this, it made me realize people lose this battle. Not everyone comes out a winner. We can choose to win. We can choose to take control over what we can and really make the best out of the situation. But not everyone makes that choice, you know, or not everyone sticks around long enough. And like I said, I felt like I was on my way out. So when I see a client that just has that hurt, that pain, that willingness to change, that is my door to find a way to relate to them. You know, I find that my experiences through alcohol actually have made me be able to relate to absolutely everyone. Because there's not one mistake I haven't made. There's not one mistake I haven't made by being a drunk. Being a drunk, I used to wake up in the morning and people would tell me my mistakes. And I still to this day deal with some guilt and shame of trying to understand why I could do certain things I did. And because of that, I know what it's like to hurt. I know what it's like to want to change. So like I said, if I see that they want that, that gives me everything I need to relate to the clients.
And I just from feeling your passion, I'm sure that these clients really just believe in you and can just feel a connection with you when you talk about these things with them. So I think that's awesome that you're able to just, when you see that change, just, you know, grab on, light that fire under them and help them out. So how did mentors and friendships help you stay on track with, you know, fitness and your sobriety?
You know what? You are who you surround yourself with. Your mentors and your friendships, you know, making this change, all of my friends at this point were, I shouldn't say all, but a majority of them that I was choosing to hang around with were addicts, you know, in some way, shape, or form. They were addicted to something or they had addictive personalities and behaviors. And I had to choose to just, when I entered this program, I pretty much was like, hey, I'm going to change my number, boom, 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 right? And it's a choice. You got to choose to want better. And, you know, with that being said, I want to go surround myself with people who have this. When I see someone that tells me, hey, I have 10 years sober of drinking, it's been ups and downs, I want to hang around that person. Or I hang around successful people in the fitness industry and people that are business owners or have been coaching longer than I have. You want to go be around those people. Those people are going to be the ones that offer you. It might make you feel uncomfortable at first, but if you feel uncomfortable, that's a sign that you're growing and you're changing. So getting outside of our comfort zones, getting away from those people that keep us in those comfort zones has been the biggest tool for me. I still have mentors that I talk to on a day-to-day basis and listen to as well. It could be a face-to-face conversation or just staying connected. I always heard this. If you don't have anyone around you that can be a mentor, can be that friend you need, we have online now. You got social media, so you can have online mentors and friendships. But mentorship and friendships that are healthy and that bring more are absolutely one of the biggest things that everyone needs in their life to be successful and to really make a change.
And that's so true you bring that up, because they always say the top 5 people that you spend most time with is kind of who you become, and you're a product of that.
That's true.
And yeah, it looks like it's been proven true in your life as well. So how important is it to have the right coach to obtain your weight loss goals?
So you know what? Don't even get me started on coaching, right? So I'm very passionate about coaching and what I do. Here's the thing. All coaches are going to make a change. Every single coach will change someone. That doesn't mean for the good, though. There's bad coaches out there, and there are good coaches. I always like the Karate Kid example. The original Karate Kid movies with Daniel-san, whether you've seen it or not, right? There's 2 coaches. You got Mr. Miyagi. He's the good coach. The wax on, wax off, focuses on the fundamentals, on the safe things, on the defense. And then you got the other coach, Cobra Kai. The guy that trains his kids and then makes his kids go out in the city and beat up everyone using their power for bad, right? And that's the thing. We have this mind state in the fitness industry. There's no pain, no gain. Get down, give me more. That's not what it's supposed to be. It should be more of the wax on, wax off approach, safe and fun, because safe and fun gets the best results. So it's very important to have a coach that understands this. I work with a lot of different coaches, and this is something that I look for. If they're looking to give you the hardest workout, they're not being your coach. They're just your trainer. A trainer is just going to help you with a workout. A coach is someone that is going to give you a workout and then be there for you through the ups, through the downs, every step of the way. So it's extremely important, because if you have the right, I honestly feel if I had the right coach, I would have never been an alcoholic. I feel like if I had the right coach, I grew up overweight. I never was on a team. I never played sports. I didn't have any coaches in my life, right? My dad and my father was a great mentor, but he was also an alcoholic. So I grew up around certain environments. Thank God he's clean now and things are completely different. But for a certain time in my life, if I could have had a coach and I would have been willing to play sports, I know things could have been different. So it's extremely important. And I recommend to everyone, go find that perfect coach for you. Okay. There's a coach out there that will relate to you, that has a similar personality, that will care for you more than some family that is blood, right? Yeah. That's really what coaching is. It's a deeper connection.
What do you think is your number one strength that you bring to the table as a coach?
Oh, man, you know what? I'm just so passionate about this. I'm so passionate about health and being a coach and being the best version of yourself. So as a coach, I have a coach persona, all right? Let's take a look at Superman. Superman is Superman. He's a superhero, but then he's Clark Kent, right? Superman is his superhero persona. And as a coach, I feel like, hey, we go out there, we save lives every day. So I had to develop this persona for myself. And I tied it into just being passionate. I always like passion as I envision it as a fiery emotion. Well, you know what? When I would drink, I would feel that I would have so much passion, so much fire, that it was so easily converted into anger, which is why I had so many issues. And I just realized I have that fire. And as long as I don't add that gasoline to it, I can use it for the good. So we just got to be willing to tap into our superpower and realize what it is. Mine is the fact that I'm so passionate. And why? Because I believe that that passion, that fire can heal. It can help me come back. It can help me rise. And like I said, I developed a persona for myself. I call myself the Phoenix of fitness. That's who I step into when I'm on the coaching mat, because I believe in rising from your ashes, right? That's what it is, a symbolism of rising from your past, rising from your pain. No matter where you are, you have the ability to grow and to heal, and to me, I think that's my superpower, that I truly understand this and I've tapped into this, and I don't take no for an answer. I know people can change. I know people can heal. It just takes that willingness.
Yeah, I think that's awesome because there's so many people that need someone to believe in them because they can't even believe in themselves. And like you said, they may not have the support system. So I'm so happy that you're there for so many people and, changing lives, along with all the other coaches out there that are awesome like you. So what is a piece of advice that you would give to someone that wants to get healthy and fit, but maybe they're struggling for whatever reason?
You know what, man, there's so many different things, all right? Ideally, we got to be willing to exercise. You got to be willing to eat healthy. You got to be willing to rest well. And you got to be willing to go ahead and try new things, man. We got to get out there. So on top of this can all be so confusing. Mm-hmm. In all honesty, I highly recommend going out and grabbing a coach. Coaching is necessary. I always look at it this way. The pros, the professional athletes, you don't ever see any single one of them without a coach.
Very true.
They're the top-notch health enthusiasts. They're the athletes. They're performing the best, right? And they're usually the models that we look up to. So if you want to be like the best or look like the best or feel like the best, because the looks don't even matter, but feeling that confident is priceless. If you want to feel like that, all of these pros have coaches. So I highly recommend going out and grabbing a coach, getting yourself a team, going into that environment where it's going to be uplifting, encouraging, and you're going to be surrounded by people with like-minded goals. If you try to do this on your own, more than likely we fail. I've seen it day in, day out. In the program, they actually say when you try to do this on your own, you fail. No matter what. They'll guarantee you it's 100% of the time, So we got to be willing to go out and get some advice from people. Yeah. Even as a coach. My workouts are great, and I coach people all day long. But when I have a coach there watching me, my workouts are different. They're making my squats get lower. They're helping my posture, and I'm feeling different. My workouts feel different. And even for someone as experienced as myself that's been doing this for over 10 years, I still need a coach.
Coaches need coaches. I
love
that.
Go.
So what does living beyond the scale mean to you?
You know what? Living beyond the scale is just so important to me. I think it's living bigger than the numbers, bigger than the days out there. I was always told, you really made it in the program when you stop counting the days that you haven't been drinking, right? When you stop paying attention to those days, saying, hey, it's day 1, or it's day 2, or it's day 10, day 30. When you get rid of those numbers and you start really living beyond the scale, that's when you're really committed to the lifestyle. Yes. I think it shows that you're living in it every day, and you're going to have ups and downs, and that's okay. But it's only okay because you're living in that moment. See, the biggest problem I see in the fitness industry is that people give the power to the scale, man. The scale is, yes, it's a necessary tool, but it's probably the most worthless tool that we have in our gym. That's not going to be the reason why you get results. So I see people giving power to the numbers, and we got to be willing to live beyond those numbers, live beyond the scale. We got to see and feel great inside. You don't have to count the numbers. You don't have to worry about finances because you're following your passion. You're living in that moment. I think that's what living beyond the scale is. It's something so much bigger than any kind of number that can try to tear you down. You're truly living your best life, and you know that you're in control over what you can control, and you've chosen to let go of what's out those numbers. You've chosen to let go of those things that set us back and hold us back.
Yeah, that was beautifully said. Thank you for that. So, we've been talking about it for a while now. We want to have a scale crushing party, so I hope you'd be down to come.
Oh, man, give me a sledgehammer. Let's do this. Let's go.
Well, I want to thank you so much for talking about your story, sharing, bringing your passion to, all the clients that you have and help out there. If there's anyone out there that is in your area, where can they find you to come work out with you?
I'm at Altaloma Fit Body Boot Camp, guys. So right off the 210 in Carnelian. If you guys want to get some more Coach Christian or just any of our team, come on by. We're all throughout the Inland Empire, man. I look forward to seeing you guys soon. And thank you for having me on the show. I greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely, Christian. And for those of you out there that may not be in the Altaloma area, make sure you visit fitbodybootcamp.com to find a location near you. Until next time. Did you know that you could have done a full workout in the amount of time it took you to listen to this podcast? Go to fitbodybootcamp.com to claim your 3 free sessions now. And remember to join me next Tuesday so you can see who our special guest is. Until then, remember to live a fit body, fit mind forever.